I don't really have an official intro for this video. I didn't really come up with anything really fancy, any real gadgets. And that's really because I just felt like this is one of those videos that when you hit record, you just kind of get right into things. It's one of those videos that I feel like is one of the most raw and real videos that really just can't be fabricated or filtered or reciprocated. So we're going to go ahead and get started in talking. This is Messianic Monday. Hi, my name is Caleb D. Wilson. I believe Jesus is the Jewish Messiah, and welcome back to Messianic Monday. If you please consider to subscribe, I make videos educating people about the Jewishness of Jesus, so every subscription really helps. If you guys haven't seen the last video, me and Andy Hawkins spent some time talking about Michael Tate, and so if I would highly encourage that you guys go watch this video, because this video was really just kind of a catapult off of what we had talked about. We're not really talking about Michael Tate today, but one of the themes that we had talked about is the accountability and the need to rebuke people. And I had produced this video, and a lot of people that I know personally were really touched by this video. I could tell because there was a lot of conversations that sprang out of this video. And I think that what sprang out of this video was a lot of us have come from Christianity, come from a lot of disappointment, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. And it seemed like a lot of us started to remember some of that pain. The pain of expectations not being met. Thinking that you are part of something worth being a part of, and finding out you aren't. And so in this video today, I thought it would be a video where I talk about some of my pain. Now, what's also worth mentioning as I think about it is I had almost pulled the plug on the last video as far as talking about Michael Tate and the allegations that he had been going through. And the reason was, I guess I just, there's a lot of things that are worth talking about. And so I have a couple of different things that I think are worth talking about, and it could be made into a video. But not just that, I always, especially lately, as I have started to gain some traction, which thank you guys, by the way, for watching these videos. It's been really cool to see what's been coming as far as the community here. I've thought more about how I present myself and the professionalism that I need to bring when I have these discussions, especially publicly rebuking people, as far as not just Michael Tate, but people like Focus Press, people who we've been having conversations about, and there's more videos to come. Which, by the way, brings me up to another point. We are actually going to release a video this Friday, our second part of going through some of the theology that Focus Press has purported. So I would highly encourage that you guys go to that. It's going to be airing Friday at 9 o'clock Central Time. So I just really thought about, I'm always, especially lately, I've been very wary about, I don't want to be the guy on YouTube who's had his rough times with Christian circles or church, and all he does is get on a camera and find every little crevice, every little nitpick, and basically just be the guy who bashes Christianity. That's not the person I want to present myself to be. And so that was part of what I think I was just worried about. Would this video we just put up about Michael Tate, would I look that way? Would we sound like we're angry, bitter people towards Christianity? And that was what I was worried about. But Andy was really passionate about talking about it, so I said, okay, let's give this a go. And we recorded this video, and then it went live, and like I said, these conversations started just to happen. And I think I just kind of went like, oh my gosh, like, I think there's people who really are feeling a certain way about when there's leaders who are in these platforms or on these platforms, and they have a reputation, and they're expected to act a certain way. And you hold these people up as maybe one of those pillars, I guess you could say, of someone you really respect and think is going to stand in the gap, continue to be the one who stands in the gap for said religion. And then you find out there's a whole world of things that these people are doing. And it's just very, very disappointing. So what I had thought about is, ironically, I think I wanted to talk more about my experiences with church, with Christians, with Christian circles, whatever you want to throw in there, because I think it's worth going down memory lane and remembering the disappointments that I've experienced in these circles. And I think the way that I want to do that today is I just want to explain some of my reasons for why my experience, I should say, my experiences in these circles, why I think Christianity hasn't worked in the way that I am satisfied with. Now, there's a lot of things I could probably find, and so I'm not expecting to perfectly explain every little gripe I have with the way Christians run things. But this is just an attempt to try to get you, the viewer, maybe somebody who is in some of these Christian circles, to maybe hear, maybe even resonate with some of these things, and tell me if you experience them yourself. One of the things that I have found really bothersome is these apologies that are made on behalf of Christians that have acted irresponsibly. Now, I'm not so much against the apologies themselves. I think that it's good to recognize that and to say, try to show that maybe you are not operating the same way that maybe some of these Christians are operating. However, what I think has been really tiresome is the apologies that are made for other people's behavior without clear steps of how to make sure that that type of action doesn't happen again. Okay, so like manipulation, abuse, like those types of things. And after a while, for me, I'm kind of at the point where, like, I don't want apologies anymore. I just want to know what is the process and the, I guess, prevention plan to make sure these things don't happen again. Where do we go in scripture to understand how we are going to handle these situations when they come up? Or really just make sure they don't happen. And that's what I just never heard. Like, I would hear people say, "I'm sorry that they've treated you so badly in church. I'm so sorry that, You've been hurt, church hurt. I'm so sorry that you've been hurt by other people. I ask for forgiveness on their behalf. Like I said, I have no problem with the apologies. It's just that when people make these apologies over and over and over again, and we still see the same behaviors, the same problems coming out of these circles, it begs a couple questions. Number one, are you really sorry? And two, is this is well, it's not really even a question. It's just this is not working. And I'm at the point where when I've been at the tail end of those things, where I've been the victim of some of these church abuses, I don't want apologies anymore if there's no action plan to bring restoration to what is supposed to be. The accountability, the expectation of how people are supposed to operate when they have these positions. Pastors have manipulated the power and the authority that's been given to them. And not even just so much they're manipulating that, but people are expecting that the pastor is like the very voice of God. And now let me talk to you about my own experiences. In December of last year, I sat down with a local pastor and I had been wondering, like, why should I listen to you? Like, why should I give you any authority in my life? And his answer was, my pastoralship is divinely given to me. Now, I need you to understand how insanely gaslighting that is. You see, if I question this pastor uh, to see if he's actually operating by scripture standards, well, because his pastoralship is divinely given to him, I am now questioning God. Do you understand that it's set up in a way that it's not fair for me to, like, I'm automatically at odds with God according to this logic. If this pastoralship is divinely given, like, now I'm arguing with God. You see how insanely slippery that is? Insanely disingenuous that is? And I told him, "No, I'm not gonna believe that. I'm not gonna just sit here and act like you have the authority to speak in my life. I think you have to earn the right to speak in my life." And it's the same expectation I have on this channel. Like, you guys don't have to believe anything I say, and I'm not gonna say my channel has been divinely given to me. Like, this channel is, I guess you could say, in a sense, like, is it, guys, God allowed me to have this channel? Okay, you could say I did, and like God has, but I'm human just like you, and I have to earn the right to speak in anyone's life if you even want me to speak in your life. And if you don't, that's fine. Because why? Because I understand nothing's been divinely given to me. I don't have divinity. I don't have divine authority to rule and speak in people's lives. And the fact that people just expect that this is the way things are, it's a very sad situation, but it's what is birthed out of Christianity, the arrogance of it. These things which vague the swamp of murkiness and allow everything to be ambiguous and not crystal clear and not defined and no standards and no structure. You see, the reason why I love structure now is because I've lived incredibly unstructured. And I have been on the end of that. I've been on the receiving end of when that goes wrong. Another problem is that people think that their input as far as scriptural interpretation is equal. That it's a free for all where everyone can come in and bring their own perspective. which goes back to this murky waters as I'm talking about, where if like you can't say that the rose is red and the rose is blue at the same time. Like one of those, either one of those is right or none of this is right. Like everybody today thinks they're an expert and thinks that they can represent scripture in a heartbeat. Everybody thinks that they have the credibility to come in and speak these things, and that we just have to sit there and accept it. It takes something to be an expert. It takes something to have any authority to speak over the subject. The reason why I left Christianity is because I realized that it produces arrogant people. Like when I have that situation with Focus Press, it was Leader 2 who said, why do I have to defend my theology? Why do I have to defend anything I say? Because you speak it publicly. Like people think that they can just get on a platform and they have no accountability. They have no reason to be listened to. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you please consider to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.